live, laugh.
We are here with the Mary Kay man, Alex Evans. How are you doing today, Alex?
Good, brother. Inside joke. I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great, doing great.
Are we going to at least explain why we just said that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay.
We think we've all kind of come to this consensus that it would be a great wrestling gimmick for somebody who sells like Mary Kay or Avon.
Yeah.
And they're just using wrestling as a way to like, so they're trying to sell people shit like during the match, and they're like passing out like
free samples.
Yeah. They're trying to become the number one in their region. So, I mean, how do you not like just walk down with a bag full of Mary Kay or Avon shit?
Yeah.
What a great gimmick. I mean,
Yeah.
someone's going to make something out of that someday. You know what? We're going to be watching something like 2, 3, 5 years down the road from now. We're going to see that on like Raw or Dynamite. We're going to be like, why didn't we hop on that, man? We're like, God, but it's all right. We'll know.
Yeah.
So this is Live, Laugh, Lariat.
Yeah, is a makeup podcast, a makeup tutorial podcast. Alex is going to walk through his daily routine here in a second.
Yeah. How to become the best in your region.
Yeah.
Number one in the state.
Fantastic. I love this a lot. So we're really going to get into like your history with wrestling and kind of how you are where you are now and goals and all that fun stuff. So with love of wrestling, where's that start for you? What's that look like?
Give this man his platform.
I'm just
He's gotta plug his stuff.
Okay. Well, away.
How are people gonna know where to find his Mary Kay products, Christian?
So go to my Chris, come on, man. There goes your cut, bro. There goes your cut. All going to Daniel now. That's it. He's getting all the proceeds.
Not again.
Not again. Yeah, man. Hit me up on Facebook, Alex Evans, Instagram, Alex Evans as well. All my upcoming show dates and fun wrestling related stuff will be found on those. And and got a lot of the summer's hot, man. Got a lot of big, awesome shows coming up this summer. A few I know you guys are going to be a part of, so that's pretty sweet. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we're actually going to be. They haven't announced it yet, but we're all actually going to be at All In.
Yeah.
So
Live, Laugh, Lariat.
You heard it here first.
In Wembley. Yeah. So, well, welcome, guys. You're welcome. Find me on those. Hit me up, and let's do some business.
Yeah. Awesome. Well,
is it okay if I ask my podcast question now?
Is it okay?
Yeah, go ahead, dude.
Okay.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for your time.
You've got
no, you're welcome.
Yeah.
So where does wrestling start for you? How, like, is that when you're a kid and what does that look like?
Yeah, definitely. So growing up, I'm originally from New York, upstate New York. And when I was growing up, I lived in a duplex. So me and my family lived upstairs, and then my aunt and my cousins lived downstairs. And my cousin's he's a couple years older than me. And I remember like when my parents would go to bed at night, 9, 10 o'clock, whatever, he would come upstairs and sneak me downstairs to watch wrestling. Not that my parents were like against me watching wrestling or anything. It was just like we were being cool, right? We were sneaking downstairs watching wrestling. And I was hooked, man. I remember he used to have all these crazy, he was a huge fan, still is. He's a pretty big fan too, but he used to have all these VHS tapes. You guys know what VHS tapes are?
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, cool. So I remember I was down there watching wrestling with him, and I didn't know really much of like who anyone was or anything. I thought it was cool to watch wrestling. And I found this VHS tape, dude, but like it was like a double stack and it was like a book. So like you opened up this VHS thing and this huge pop-up of Hogan popped up. And because it was the WrestleMania 4 VHS tapes. And WrestleMania 4 was that big tournament that they had where Savage won. And it was 2 VHS tapes because the show itself was so long. And I just remember watching that thing, dude, and I was just like, this is freaking awesome. And that tournament was stacked with there's so many legends and guys in that tournament for the title. I just remember watching that, like that VHS tape, like that reel probably had to be like onion skin thin, man, because I watched that thing over and over. And that was like WrestleMania 4 was like my first intro, even though it was way past WrestleMania 4 at the time. I forgot what year it was, but like, so I just started watching them. So like WrestleMania 4 was the first Mania I watched. I just went, and he had all these VHS tapes. I just kept watching them over. And I watched like WrestleMania like 4 through 10 in like 3 days. And I was just like, that was it, dude. I was hooked. Yeah, I was hooked. From then on, it was all over.
Awesome. So those VHS tapes, can you imagine if they did like that now for like this past WrestleMania? It would be
it'd be like 9,
like a whole like the Encyclopedia Britannica of just
VHS. Yeah, dude, I like try fitting a 6 hour. Like I mean, I don't know how many like VHS tapes would a 6.5 hour show. It's got to be at least.
Titanic was 2.
Yeah, my brother,
and that was only about 3 hours. So,
so you're talking about a little quad cassette action, easy probably.
Yeah, my brother asked that for his birthday because somebody at school told him that there was nudity in it.
Titanic.
Yeah,
there was.
Yeah, kids these days are easy. Like,
yeah. You want to see something? Oh, go watch Titanic. Back in the day, man. We had a channel that we had to watch all blurry and fuzzy and stuff, and like, oh, I know what that is. And you have to make it out.
And by the end, he's just weeping from the story. Like, there's no room for Jack on that piece of wood.
What a shame.
Oh man.
What a shame.
So
that's where it all started.
So who are the characters you initially gravitate towards that just kind of like because you're younger then, and it's just like, is it the personalities? Are there certain characters? Is it in ring stuff? Like, what's the initial point?
Yeah, it was like a melting pot of all that, man. Like Hogan, obviously. Savage was. We want to talk about characters. I mean, doesn't get much better than that. But then, like, I transitioned, like, guys like Ultimate Warrior. You just see this monster of a man just going ape shit, running down to the ring, shaking ropes, and just unsafely lifting guys over his head and throwing them around. It was just like, wow, this is awesome. But then more like, I'm a huge, like, Bret Hart really turned it up for me.
Yeah.
I was a huge Bret Hart fan, still to this day. But then like Shawn Michaels, then you get into the Attitude Era, and it's all just skyrockets from there. So, but yeah, Hogan, Flair too, definitely. Bret, Michaels, and then once later on, obviously, you got the guys like Austin that just drew in people who I didn't even think, like people who didn't watch wrestling. I feel like everyone knew who Stone Cold Steve Austin was starting in like 1997 on.
Yeah.
Just because of how popular the industry was then and how popular he was. And just like everyone just related to him. Like, who doesn't want to beat the shit out of their boss and drink beer? Like, pour beer on them, you know?
Even still to this day, we went to Raw like last year, the year before, and they had the Raleigh 316 shirts.
Oh, yeah.
The shirt, I got one of those. I actually wore it to the gym, and somebody asked it about it, and they got really bummed when they found that it wasn't like something for church.
Oh, God.
Like, so what's your shirt all about? And Daniel's over there like, explaining the origin of Austin.
Yeah, they didn't ask you if you're like on a mission or something, right?
It's a wrestling shirt. And he was like, oh, what do you mean? So I'm like sitting there at the desk at Planet Fitness. I was like, so this guy named Stone Cold. He was facing this guy. He said, like, just telling them the
and he's
story.
Like, and he's speaking the promo back to him, and it's just
his light is leaving his eyes. He's like, oh, I thought I found like a friend in Christ, and I was like,
no, wrong 316.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. Yeah. So that was it. That was the beginning for me.
Who would you say like your favorite match? You like,
if you have to pick one, well, do your favorite match, and also that match for that non-wrestling fan that's like you would try to get them into wrestling. I'm kind of interested on that.
My favorite match of all time. See, I'm a big story guy, man. You know what I mean? I love the match that's the culmination of like a year-long storyline or whatever the case may be, or just has a story behind it. I'd got to say Bret and Shawn WrestleMania 12 Iron Man match, dude.
Yeah,
That,
sure.
I mean, that match from start to beginning, like, and it's almost probably the same thing. Like, if you're not a wrestling fan, what should I watch and be like, whoa, that's pretty cool. Watch that match. I mean, just the whole story behind it. And then on top of that, it was just like from the moment the bell rings to the minute that hour's up, and then the overtime after the match too. It's just like that was a clinic. And that's not like, you don't see many Iron Man matches now, right? I mean, you know, Daniel Bryan, MJF just had one, but just like you don't see hour long, because I don't feel like, plus I don't feel like, you know, you're not going to find an Iron Man match on like Raw or Dynamite or something like it's too much time, right? You got to pay the advertisers, you got to do this, and it's too much time, even on pay-per-views now. Even though like WrestleMania is like 12 hours long, like they still, you know, you're not going to find like Iron Man matches. So like those Iron Man matches, like, because not a lot of people can do them though either. You know, it's the easiest match I would think to perform. But Brett Shawn WrestleMania 12 Iron Man match.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a lot to ask of an audience to be invested for an hour, because like I feel like attention spans in 2023 are awful. Like,
yeah, and I mean, dude, I think it's a lot to ask fans to sit through a 3-hour show for like Raw. I think too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, 3 hours, it's a long time, and when 70% of it is backstage segments and promos and stuff like that, like it's tough to watch. And this changed a little bit, kind of, sort of recently, where you see more wrestling and stuff, but keeping someone's attention for a 3-hour time block, you know, on a Monday night, it's tough as it is. So imagine having someone keeping their attention for a 1 hour match. Like you got to be pretty good, and you got to do something pretty special, if that's the case. So that's why they're so far and few between. But when you get a really good one, man, like Brett and Shawn in 12, it just, I mean, that match was how long ago? 27 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's still talked about to this day as like kind of like the pinnacle of matches, let alone Iron Man matches.
Yeah. I was listening to like an interview with Terry Funk. He said his dad had a match with Ted DiBiase's dad, and it went like 4 hours.
What?
Yeah. Like, and it ended with them like being arrested. Like, I don't know if it was like planned or whatever, but like, yeah, definitely a big jump.
Like on purpose, it was 4 hours long.
Yeah. Like, what can you do? Like, and like, I know what these guys look like back in the day. It's like, it's not like Brett and Shawn, but yeah. So
no, they weren't like triathletes or anything.
Yeah.
That's long. That's 4 hours is a long match.
Yeah.
At least 2 hours of it were rest holds. Okay.
Yeah.
A little nap in the middle. But yeah. I think the last one that I remember is didn't Adam Page and Bryan Danielson had like an hour match?
Yeah.
I don't think it was advertised as it, but they ended up going for like a super long time.
Yeah. I mean, the MJF Daniel Bryan one, that was advertised as the Iron, and that was a great match. Don't get me wrong. That was an Iron Man match. That was really good. It takes two special workers to be able to pull something off like that, and obviously MJF and Daniel Bryan are pretty special, pretty good at what they do. So
when are we getting that Alex Evans Iron Man match?
Not anytime soon.
So if we can jump ahead a little bit, what's that point? And maybe this might be a story, I don't know. When you go from being a fan to, hey, I want to be involved in this, what does that look like? How old are you at that point? Like, how's that work?
So this was still when I was living in New York. Just gotten out of high school, maybe. No, maybe I was like a year or two removed from high school. And I was at work, and we were on break from work, and we were going back in, and there was this guy that was in there, and he was part of like the cleaning crew that was cleaning the building that we were working in. And a friend of mine was just like, "Do you know who that is?" I'm like, "The guy vacuuming the carpet." I was like, I don't know, who is it? And he was like, "Oh, that's so and so." I forgot what the guy's name was. Chip Stetson, Chip something. This is he's a big wrestler. He's an indie wrestler. I was like, "What?" And he was like, yeah. And he goes, like, I always wanted to be a wrestler, right? I always wanted to be involved. I always wanted to get in a wrestling ring. It's like, yeah, it just so happened like earlier that day we were talking about wrestling and I wish there were schools around here or something. He's like, well, ask him. Like, he wrestles like in Schenectady, which is like a half hour away. He's like, maybe there's a school out there, or he knows somewhere you can go. I'm like, all right, cool. I go up to him. I just start talking to him, tell him, yeah, I'm trying to get into the business and get trained and this, that, and the other. He's like, well, I don't have a school. I don't do anything. He goes, but there's this guy up in Hudson Falls, New York, which is like 45 minutes to an hour away from Albany, where I was from. Yeah. He's just like, name is JP Black, and he runs a school and teaches kids out of his school with a guy named Bobby Fish. And I'm like, oh. I'm like, okay. So he gives me contact numbers and information, and I end up calling Bobby Fish on the phone and talk to Bobby for a while. He's like, yeah, me and JP, like, we got a little school. We're running, we're teaching kids, and, if you guys are interested, this, that, and this is what you got to do. This is how much, yada, yada, yada. At the time, me and my best friend were just like, yep, that's it. There it is. There's the opportunity. So every like Monday and Friday from then on, for like a year and a half, 2 years straight, we were driving up to Hudson Falls, New York to train. We got trained. We trained with Bobby Fish, and we trained with another gentleman named JP Black for about like 2 years or so. Mm-hmm. So that was my introduction. And then I had moved from New York. I actually moved out to Chicago for school. And then once I got out there, man, it was just like I was working full time, school full time, everything full time, and like couldn't find schools that were like within like an hour of me. It was all like some of them were in Wisconsin, some of them were here, Indiana. And it's like 3 hours there and back each way. I was just like, I can't, like, feasibly, like I wouldn't be able to make it work. But yeah, that's when I first started training, and then I moved down here to North Carolina. And there was a show a couple of years after I moved down here. FWE was running a show, and I started to see like Instagram ads and stuff like that. I'm like, I was like, wow. I was like, they're running out of Raleigh. I was like, there's this. And I knew nothing about the promotion. I was just seeing these ads. So I'm just like, wow. I was like, do they have a school? Like, there's something opening up in Raleigh. Where are they getting these guys from? Like, a show's happening in Raleigh. Where are all these workers coming from? So I remember I hit up the promoter and owner of FWE. He's like, well, no, I don't have a school. He's like, and I don't train anybody. He goes, but hit up this guy, LeBron Kozone. He's out of Greensboro, North Carolina. And I was just like, hit him up. Like, do you have his information? He's like, no, here's his Instagram page. So I'm like, okay. So I jumped into Kozone's DMs like literally that night. And then I want to say like a week later, I showed up at Firestar Pro Wrestling. And that was December of 21.
Okay.
And that's it. And then here we are, full circle. Yeah.
Awesome. So let's take it back a little bit. Did you know who Bobby Fish was at the time? Like, or I guess what point was he at in his career?
So at the point when I met Bobby and he was helping train me and my buddy, he was going back and forth doing indies in the States and working for Pro Wrestling Noah at the time. So he was back and forth doing that. This is like way before this is way before WWE, way before, I want to say it was even way before like he was as prominent as he was with Kyle O'Reilly as Red Dragon and ROH. So yeah, no, he was going back and forth doing indies here and then Noah and stuff in Japan.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you had no idea, like, it was just like, oh, this is just a guy. So that's
you
kind of looked out, I would say.
Yeah,
that's 1,000%. Yeah. I mean, so this was before Bobby Fish was, Bobby Fish. You know what I mean? Like, you say Bobby Fish to someone now, oh yeah, I know who he is. Like back then, I'm not saying no one knew who he was, but he just wasn't as big in the industry as he is now, But yeah, so I lucked out being able to pick the brain and learn from Bobby and JP. Even though like the time I didn't get to spend as much time with Bobby as I wish I had, because granted the guy was going to Japan, right? He was doing like 3-week tours, month-long tours and stuff for Noah all the time. But when he was home, we'd be up there training, and it was a good time. It was a good way to get broken into training. I feel like clearly Bobby knows what he's doing, and he's pretty damn good at it. So it's just like cool to be able to learn from him. But yeah, and then had a hiatus between Bobby and Kozone, and then once I stepped into Firestar, it was all over from there, man. That was just like that. I got bit by the bug a second time, especially walking into the Firestar Pro Wrestling School. That's a different animal there too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
When you started, did you have a character in mind, or did you get to the point where you're actually working shows, or were you just training the entire time? Your initial.
No. So I didn't like have like a character off the top of my head when I first started training, or before I started working matches and doing shows and stuff. But I remember just like one time, like one night after, like we do like training school shows, like mock shows. There's no crowd there, right? But
yeah,
gear, the whole nine, and run match. We'll do stuff like that at Firestar. And one night I had stayed back a while to talk to Kozone. We were just talking, like, you know, where he thinks like my character work needs to go, or like how I can do this and that. And Cozy just looked at me and he was just like, he goes, I just think you're just a natural heel. And he wasn't the first person to have said that to me. There's other guys who like watch my matches or help, you know, agent put my match together and stuff during these training class shows. I was just like, I just think you'd be a great heel. Like, you're just a natural heel. I think you'd be really good at it. So from then it was just like, you know, they always say that your character is just the version of you just turned up a little bit on the dial, right? And like, it's so weird because more so than recently, I've had people come up to me and tell me like, oh, it was nice to finally talk to you. I never wanted to approach you or like talk to you. I'm like, what? Yeah. Like, why? I was like, do I come off as like I'm a dick, or like I'm just like intimidating, or what? Like, what do you mean? Like, oh, so nice to finally talk to you. I didn't know how to approach you. I'm like, you fucking come up, you say hi, how are you, and we'll shake hands and we'll start conversing like human beings. Like, but like, yeah, people just be like, yeah, you just kind of give off this intimidating like presence or aura about you. I'm like, I know I'm not going to be like smiling like the Joker like 24/7 or something, right? But like, I don't think like I'm a dick. Like, I just don't have like asshole written across my forehead. But it's just like, I always gravitated towards the bad guys though too. Like, I'm a huge Batman fan, but I'd rather see the Joker win 10 days out of the week type deal, you know? But yeah, so I take bits and pieces of really good heels that I've seen work over the years, and I try to incorporate them because I don't want to just take exactly what they did. You know what I mean? I want to make it my own. So I'll just look at some of the greatest heels that I think have ever been in this business, and I'll just take little bits and pieces and make it my own thing. And if see if it works, and it seems to be going pretty well so far, I'd say.
Yeah.
Top 5 in no order. Go.
Heels?
Yeah.
Flair, Triple H, Randy Orton, Roman, and I'll say that I'll get back to that, but I'll say like why. Why I think he's one of the top heels. And then 5,
Alex Evans.
Yep. Alex Evans. Yeah. Alex Evans. No order, but yeah, Alex Evans. Yep.
That's great.
You're gonna see a tweet. Alex Evans thinks he's the same as Roman Reigns.
As heard us on Live.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. God. Yeah. Thanks for that, guys. My Twitter feed's about to blow up. Instagram DMs. Like, who do you think you are? No.
You're overestimating our audience.
I'm Alex Evans. That's who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I'd say they're.
So when does that first match for you happen? Does it not happen until like once you start doing Firestar?
Yeah, not since when I first started doing Firestar. So I started training December of 21. And then June of 22, it's funny, I was part of the filming of this movie, and they were filming it at Firestar, which is actually the first time I actually got to sit down and really talk to Mark James. That's a different story. And I remember I'm like sitting there, like in between, like we're supposed to be doing these takes or whatever. And I get a message from Kozone. He's just like, hey, he goes, I got a spot in the Battle Royal this weekend if you want it. And mind you, he was like in his office, like 10 feet away. Like he messaged me this, and I was like, yeah, of course, I'd love to be in this battle royal. So I want to say like June 22 battle royal is my first match, and then I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm very rarely ever wrong. I want to say ever since then, I've been on every Firestar show since.
Nice. That's pretty.
Since that night, the battle royal. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my first match. Was a battle royal.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This is kind of off topic, but it just popped back into my head. So first off, you have a really cool song with Mikey Ruckus. That's your theme.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the show Seventh Heaven?
Yes.
Okay, so I think instead of the really cool Mikey Ruckus, you should let me record your entrance, and it's just going to be Alex Evans.
Will we get in trouble for that though?
No,
I don't think so.
So trademark wise, that falls under parody, which is legal.
Yeah.
That's how growth injury gets away with murder.
And you could just be like this, like super Christian, like pastor. I'm not trying to pitch anything, but I will record that if you want.
That might be a good thing for a face turn down the line. Yeah. Yeah, that might work. That might work. Yeah, but, I'm down.
Yeah. But kind of curtailing off that, what is the process? Because I don't know that a lot of people know that you can just like have Mikey Ruckus make a song for you. So how does that process work? How much input do you have, and how does the process go of getting a Mikey Ruckus entrance?
Yeah, dude, surprisingly, like very easy. Like I hit him up on Instagram. I sent him a message. I was like, hey man, I'd be very interested in having you make custom entrance music for me.
Yeah.
And he got back to me like maybe a couple hours, and I was just like, cool, bro, I'd love to do it. This, and that. This is what I need. And that was it. And I think within 3 weeks I had that entrance song done.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was he sent me the first cut with no lyrics. He was just like, here, this is what I got together so far. He goes, if you approve it and everything's good, I'll get working on, we'll add in some lyrics and I'll clean it up, blah, blah, blah. So he sent that to me, and then like a week and a half later, it was like the final version. He's like, here you go. I'm like, oh, sweet. And like, you get a global license in perpetuity with that too. So I can literally go anywhere in the world and work and wrestle and use my own theme music. So pretty sweet. Great guy, man. Great guy. So he's a huge fan. And like he wants your input. It's not like it's just like, well, here, pay me, and then I'll slap something together for you, and here you go. No, it's just like, yeah, tell me what do you like some of your favorite bands or favorite songs, things like that. Just throw something at me. You do that, and then he'll take the time to piece something together for you. Wow. Send it to you, get your approval, and then move forward with the lyrics. Send that back to you. Is everything okay? Yep. And then finally do like a little final cleanup of it, whatever he needs to do, and then you have your very own Mikey Ruckus entrance song.
What are some of the songs and bands that you gave him as like input or inspiration?
So I was just like, like I really liked at the time before I had the custom music done by Mikey, I was using a Kill Switch Engage song as my entrance. It's called Fixation on the Darkness. I was like, this is what I use now. And he's like, oh man, he goes, I love Kill Switch. He's like, that's right up my alley, like heavy riffage, stuff like that. I was like, well, here's what I use now. I was like, I think Adam Cole's music is one of the best in the business right now. I was like, I'm a fan of that. I was like, I love Triple H's theme. I love the Undisputed Era's theme, like just like that heavy riffage stuff. You know what I mean? So send them all. Like that's what I gave him. I was like, here are some of my favorites. These are some of the sounds I'm looking for, and he put that together for me.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty sweet.
Yeah. I would like to offer that package to anyone. I'll do it for free. It will be an acoustic guitar, probably. It won't be very good, but it'll be funny. So
imagine an acoustic entrance song.
Yeah, I will also come to every show with you
and play it live while you walk out.
Yeah, like Shinsuke and fucking Rick Boogs. Like,
oh yeah, that'd be great.
I kind of really dig that, like on a conceptual level, because like in its own way, it could be heelish because everyone will just be like, "Oh God, this guy!"
Yeah, here comes this guy with a damn guitar again, just trying to get through a couple chords over the chorus of Boots.
It's like I'm pretty sure he's just doing "Hey There, Delilah," but with like wrestling lyrics. Like, but like flip side, how fucking badass is it if you come out and there's just a dude playing the saxophone
or the saxoboom like Jack Black has?
Yeah, dude, like that dude. First off, that dude fucks. Like, and second of all, like this dude's about to do something awesome in the ring. So
but just imagine if that's like you get custom music with the guy playing a saxophone. The guy just walks in there. You just throw the biggest lariat of your life, like a la JBL 1, 2, 3 over. That's it. That's it. But you just had someone play you down to the ring with a saxophone.
Yeah, and then you just murder somebody. Like,
I got to make a list of like all the shit we're coming up with so far in this interview, from the Mary Kay Avon stuff to this. And
luckily, we're recording, so
beautiful.
Let's talk. Do you like lariats? That's a dumb question, but
giving or receiving, man.
Just why? Like
I've been on the rough end of a few.
Christian points out, like, I think my favorite move is lariat.
Watching him watch wrestling is my favorite thing, because if it's a good chop, a good lariat, or just like a cool sequence, Daniel's over there like he's quiet the whole time, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, that's good, that's good,
yeah,
good lariat."
Yeah.
I fucking love a lariat. Like,
good lariat. The what?
Who is like the favorite like lariat? Well, I hope I didn't like catch you in a lie. You're like, "Oh, I love lariats," and then you're just like,
"No." I mean, JBL's a classic, but dude, if you go back and watch Dan Hansen's lariat, like you legit thought that man killed people sometime throwing that lariat, dude. I mean,
what's scary is he like could not see.
Like, no, he was like blind in one eye or something, wasn't he? Like he couldn't. Yeah, he could not see.
Yeah.
I'm convinced he was just swinging with everything. He was like, I gotta hit something.
Just hoping to hit something. Yeah, if it's someone's head, even better. Yeah. No, but Dan Hansen's lariat, I feel like everyone learned from that or wants to emulate that, because that was like the shit. Like he really thought he killed the man. So definitely Dan Hansen's.
Kenta Kobayashi too. Anything Kenta Kobayashi does is like, that person might be dead.
Yeah.
It's a miracle that anybody survived 90s Japanese wrestling.
Yeah, I know. Go back and watch something like that, like early Noah or like early All Japan, New Japan stuff. It's just like, thought this was a work, guys. Like,
like,
like what happened?
Awesome.
Yeah.
So lariats. I'll talk about lariats all day.
So earlier you mentioned Mark James, who is one of our favorite people working, especially in the North Carolina scene.
This is a great guy too.
Yeah, like
I think he listens. So we refer to him as our wrestling dad.
Oh yeah. Because anytime there's a question, or I'm just like trying to pick his brain, or I'm just trying to figure out like how to navigate something, I go to him first, and he gets back to me in like 90 seconds, and then we'll like for 3 hours about it. Like he is
no, he's the man, dude. That guy is just not just in the wrestling world, wrestling business wise, but just like outside of the business itself. He's an amazing guy. He's a great dude. And like if you're on his good side, he will take care of you. You know what I mean? Like he will look out for you. He'll be there for you. You could call him, text him anytime you want, and he will be there to help you or just talk to you if you need it. I've been very fortunate and blessed to be able to kind of be put in his path a little bit, and now to be able to get to work with him as much as I am now with the thing we got going, which is just so much fun, dude. Like it's just working with Mark. It's pretty cool, and it's fun when you can go to work, if you will, wrestling, and to be able to do it next to like one of your best friends and have fun with it, and just go through it with them together. It's pretty cool. And I mean I wouldn't be able to pick another person to do it with other than Mark, because that's just how cool he is and how much fun we're having with it right now, and we're just getting started with it too. got a long way to go. So I'm looking forward to every step of it with him because he's the man. He's awesome.
Have you guys thought about matching tattoos?
Not yet. None that people could see. But we've talked about it a little bit.
It's like you have it like right in your ankles, so like nobody will ever see it because you're always wearing boots. But like as soon as the boots off,
we both wear long tights too, so we were thinking about like the inside of our quads too. Yeah. So we were talking about that a little bit. But that we'll debut those maybe on another podcast another time.
Yeah. There are no other podcasts, by the way.
No, I mean with you guys. Another.
I thought you were going into business for yourself.
No. Another time with you guys is what I meant.
Yeah. You guys should do a podcast though, because I don't know if you listen to his podcast, but
I do.
Great.
Yeah.
Actually, cool. Remarkable conversation.
Mark has no filter, and he's not ashamed about it at all. But that's what makes him great, man. Like you're never gonna catch Mark like giving you bullshit or like just trying to tell you something for the sake of argument. That's not. No, you'll not get that from him. Like you will get the honest to God truth and the most straightforward answer and opinion out of anyone you've ever met in your entire life from Mark James. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, he's got a good podcast.
Yeah.
So tag team wise, how did that get put together? What's the story there? I'm really curious about that.
So like I said, I had crossed paths with Mark a few times before, at like Firestar shows, just like in passing, like never even like formally introduced ourselves. Like, hey man, how are you? Like quick shake of the hands, blah, blah, blah. That was it. And then when we were doing this movie that we were both in together, I just like literally I think we were on like lunch or something when we were filming this thing. And we sat down next to each other. And we just talked for like an hour, maybe even longer, just bullshit about wrestling, family, life and stuff, just talking, So that was like kind of our introduction to each other. And then he had messaged me or texted me. I was just like, how'd you think about working together? I was like, hey, like, why? Like, I was like, what's the catch? Like, is this gonna be like a one-off where you turn on me and just destroy me? Like, is that like what's going on here? And he was just like, no. He goes, I like your style. He goes, I feel like we'd be able to do this. And someone had asked Mark to put together like a faction of guys, if you will. And Mark said that I was one of the first people he had thought about to put like in this faction. So then like we tried to put this faction together, and then I just couldn't make all the pieces fit. I mean, we tried to at certain times, and some of the individuals we wanted in it like couldn't all get together, and it was just a mess. You know what I mean? It was just like, oh, shit, this sucks. Like this is gonna be something pretty cool. And Mark was just like, fuck it, let's just be me and you then. Just be a tag team. Alex Evans, Mark James. I'm like, okay, works for me. Like that's great. And that was it, man. And we just we started working together. We got this thing going with me and Mark, and then Showcase and Marcellus and me and Mark kind of we're like the tag team of that little faction, if you will. And we're working a lot together. So that's how it came to be about. I was just like, sign me up, man. Absolutely.
Have you guys ever thought about the fact that you both of your names are all first names?
Evans? Is it first? Evan. Yeah. Well, his is legit though. Like Mark and then James. Like Alex. Like I don't think I've ever met an Evans in my life. Evan, yes.
Yeah.
But no.
You couldn't just let me have that.
I know, but you're right. I should have. That's my heel work, bro. See, I'm always working the gimmick. You see, I just took that away from you. Now he's gone. See?
So what's that cheat meal looking like?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. You're right. We both know. Rewind. You're right. We both have. Yeah, all our names are first names.
We'll restart it. Hey, did you ever realize that like you and Mark James probably are such a good team because you both have it's just like all first names?
No, you're right. You're 1,000% right. I think that's exactly what makes us how successful we are. It's because it's all first names. You're right, man.
Great. Well, it's
Thank
been
you.
great talking with you.
I really need that to end up on TikTok, dude. That whole sequence, I need it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Oh,
awesome.
That was good.
So what is the future for Alex Evans? What are your end game? What are your goals? What do you hope to achieve? And who are some of the names that you're hoping to, like, over the next year, cross off if you have a list or some people that you'd like to face?
Yeah, man. What's the end game? Look, like at the end of the day, and this is gonna go off into a little side tangent. It's just like you always, anything you do, you really just want to be the absolute best at it, right? Like I really want to be one of the best heels that comes out of this state, this country, and this business ever. I really do. And like when people say, well, I want to be the best at this, someone recently asked me, it's like, well, what's being the best mean to you? Does being the best mean having the best matches? Does being the best mean collecting a bunch of titles? Does being the best mean in your mind you had the best match, you gave the crowd what they wanted, you go home and that's the end of it? Like what's the best mean to you? And it's just like, to me, I feel like I why do I have to pick one? You know, I want it fucking all. I want to be the best wrestler around. That's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a year. It might not happen in 2 years. But at the end of the day, I want to walk away from this whole game, if you will, and people knowing who Alex Evans was. You know what I mean? Whether it was because I was the biggest dick heel they've ever seen and they wanted to wait for me in the parking lot after the show, great. My job is done. Whether it was because a promotion felt like I could be the flag bearer and hold a title and have great matches and put butts in seats, great, cool. That's what I want to do. If it means going out there and just simply having the best match out of the 8 or 9 that are on that card, cool, great. I'll take that too. I want it all. So that is what I want for myself out of this business. And it's going to take a lot for something to prevent that from happening, because that's just where my sights are right now. Foot's on the gas, no let up. I just want to do this until the wheels fall off. So
hell yeah, dude.
That's the plan for me.
Awesome. And who let's give you like 5 years and then 1 year. Who do you want to wrestle this year? And who do you want to wrestle in, like, let's say 5 years?
This year, I would definitely love to get in the ring with Oliver Sawyer. I'd definitely love to get in the ring with Lucky Ali. I'd like to get in the ring with Jackson Drake. I'd like to get in the ring with Kozone. That's just to name a few, because all those guys I just listed right there, I feel like are just some of the top talents, not just here, right? Like Oliver Sawyer, I feel like is underrated, not appreciated enough for how fucking good that kid is. He's just so good, man. And then just like Lucky Ali, it's just like anytime I watch that guy work, I feel like I'm watching something on TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why is he not on a syndicated show on a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday night? I have no clue why.
Yeah.
But even like Jackson Drake, I mean, holy shit, man. I mean, if you're living under a rock and you don't know who that kid is, just like, and he's so young and he's so good. And it's just like, it's a scary thought to think of where he's going to be in 5 years, just with how good he is now. I mean, and granted, he's been doing it for a long time. He was 13 when he started. I think he's 19 now.
Yeah.
He's only going to get better, which is just a scary thought. Jay Malachi, I mean, there's not much though. You mentioned that guy's name and we're good. Everyone's just like, yep. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, like
I don't know how every time I see him, he's better.
Like, and it's not even like half a step. It's like leaps better than he was the time before.
And the time before he was incredible. It's like he's
he's a special guy. He's a special guy. And like just naming all those guys I just named right there, it's just like it's almost just like a sigh of relief, because it's just like the talent that is going to be present for a long time in this business because of people like that. So it's just like, yes, I know wrestling is going to be good to watch, and it's in good hands for a long time if these guys can just stay healthy and stay the course and just keep doing their thing.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Sure.
LeBron, man, like that's a guy that just doesn't give himself enough credit.
100%.
And like he's so good. Like he's just like one of those guys that you hear the analogy. I think I heard Edge say it about Brett. And I was just like, you can have a good match with a broomstick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like LeBron is he's so good, man. And I don't know. I wish he was out there more, to put himself out there more. I know he's an extremely busy dude. Obviously, he runs his own promotion, school, and stuff like that too. But we were at DPW together last night, and that match that he had with Oliver Sawyer and Diego Hill was just like, wow.
DPW
amazing.
has been awesome because I feel like people are actually getting to see what he can do. He
Yeah.
had a match with Adam Brooks.
Oh, yeah.
That was just so good. Like some of the stuff he does is like, how is this guy like not on TV?
And that's the thing that's almost frustrating by it. And we've talked about it on the podcast in the past, is this idea that like it's amazing that he is using his platforms to give so much back to the business.
Yeah.
But he could be on TV today, and like he's just so beyond good. But how amazing is it that he is using his platform to build up a generation of talents?
All those guys.
It's just like that's what makes him such a special man, though. Too, like he's putting his own stuff like on the back burner, if you will, because he just loves this business so much. And he cares. He wants it to be in good hands for like generations to come. You know what I mean? And God bless him for doing that, dude. Because I mean, like you just said, look at the talent that he's produced and helped coach and train, and gets out there in the world for people to see. And then he'll just sprinkle himself in there a little bit. You know what I mean? But then it's just like when you see him, you're just like, why is this guy not on my TV on Monday nights or Wednesday nights? It's just like.
Have you seen the match he had with Jay Lethal?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was very impressed with that. Was actually he had just had that match with Jay before I started training at Firestar. I want to say it was like the month before, or maybe the month of. I want to say. Yeah. So when he's like, "Oh, hit up LeBron Kozone in Greensboro." I'm like, "Oh, LeBron Kozone." And I like that match popped up because it was like the most recent, because like he had just had it, and I was just like, "Yep,
yeah,
sign me up." Like I'll see you there next week. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's awesome.
Special guy, man. It's very special.
And then jump ahead 5 years. Who are some of the guys that you want to like dream matches for you to have the opportunity to be in the ring with?
Oof. I hope he's still around. But like I'm a huge fan. I've like AJ Styles would be a dream opponent for me. Yeah. Seth Rollins would be a dream opponent for me. Those two guys, I wish I could work with, and it might happen. You never say never, right? You never know. Daniel Bryan would be another one that I would love to work with. I'd love to work with Kenny. Kenny would be, I think he'd be a good worker to work with. He's pretty good at what he does. But yeah, let's just name a few, man. I mean, it'd be a dream come true just to share a ring with those guys, and to be able to put on a good match with them would be okay. That'd be at that point, I'd be like, okay, I could leave this business tomorrow and I'm good. Like I got to do that. You know what I mean? So those guys would definitely be at the top of the list.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
And I have one question, and Christian has one question. Mine's a little bit more serious. If you had to give up like an arm or a leg, like if you had to choose, like to not have one of those, an arm or a leg, What would you choose?
That's a great question. And I have the answer for that simply because I have been like both extremities. I've been like injured before. So I've been without both. And I can say that I would much rather have both arms than both legs.
Okay. You heard it here first.
Who knew he was uniquely qualified to answer this question?
Yeah, dude, you thought you were going to get me with that question. I was like, dude, this is something I've thought about late at night, like due to injuries. Yeah, no, I would rather have both my arms.
Thoughts in the past.
Yeah.
Awesome. Someone stooged that off, by the way. I knew that question was coming. That's why I was so well.
I didn't know that question was coming until right before I said it. That's how we do it on this podcast. Hey, man. You ready for your question? It's good to see you. It's good to see you. This has been fun so far.
This has been great. Thank you, guys.
Sorry about walking out earlier. That was kind of rude, huh?
No, we got to use that. Better put that on TikTok or something.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a little bit of a drama queen.
It's okay.
Thank you.
I forgive you.
So you probably kind of already mentioned it, but who are some wrestlers that you think more people should know about?
Again, Oliver Sawyer. I don't know why. He doesn't get enough credit and attention. Lucky, Jackson Drake, Jay Malachi, LeBron, SoFly. I know you guys have had him, Manny, on your podcast. People should know more about him.
Yeah.
That's just to name a few, but it's just like all those guys I just mentioned are definitely going to be around for a very, very long time. Yeah. And the sport of wrestling is going to be way better because of that.
Yeah.
So those are definitely some guys that need to be looked at. And then, look at, like, I'm not just saying this because he's my tag partner. Maybe I am, but it's just like Mark James. It's just like the guy's been around. The guy's a veteran right now. He's been in this business for 20 plus years, and to have that type of longevity alone in this business, that says a lot already about you. But the things that he's able to do to help and elevate people that he works with, that's like a very special talent to have. You know what I mean? To be able to go in there and work with someone and make them look like $1 million, even if they're not, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, he's another special talent that I hope selfishly sticks around for a very, very long time.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's kind of amazing that he can work like what I think are two of the most different styles of. He can do the old school match.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he can do the like super indie thing that is very popular now.
Yeah.
Like, he does well at both.
Yeah. Yeah. We like I said, I'm real lucky to be working with him. And some pretty big things planned for us in the near future. So I'm looking forward to going on this journey with Mark. And he's a good friend of mine. I consider him a brother. And we're going to do some pretty fun, special things coming up here in the coming months. So it's definitely something to keep a lookout for.
Awesome. And we saved the best for last here. We even have our own entrance music for it. It's Christian's question.
Okay.
Christian's question.
It's great entrance music, by the way.
Thank you. Right.
Okay, right. So my question that I ask everyone, because I'm just always curious.
Have you received the Lord as your personal Lord and Savior?
This was the Round 316 out to ask me that if you were going to do that.
Yeah. All right.
What's that cheat meal you can like?
The cheat meal?
Yeah, the like ideal cheat meal for you.
Dude, this is gonna sound. So yes, my cheat meal. It's gonna sound like I'm a potato chip connoisseur, bro. Yeah, okay. I just fucking love potato chips, and I can't eat it. You know what I mean? Like I could eat them at home, but I just don't. You know what I mean? Like I gotta look good half naked in front of lots of people on a regular basis. So like I try to steer away from that. But like if I'm gonna go to cheat meal, I could eat a medium pizza by myself to the face in a sitting, and then have like a bag of potato chips. Not like the whole bag.
Yeah.
In sitting, I could definitely do it.
What's your favorite kind of potato chip?
Okay, so would you guys classify Doritos as potato chips or those tortilla chips?
I would classify those as like chips. Yeah.
Chips, right?
I want to call them potato chips,
Yeah.
but they would be chips.
Chips. So we'll just bundle that. We'll just say chips in general.
Chips. Yeah.
It would have to be the purple bag Doritos.
Yes.
The sweet, spicy chili, whatever the heck those are, the purple ones. Hands down, those are my favorite. Like Cool Ranch is like an OG. Like you can't go wrong with that, right? Yeah. But like the purple bag Doritos, that's my shit.
That makes me so happy. I'm gonna go on a slight tangent. At my job, I end up ordering a lot of things. I work at high school, and I order a lot of things for the school. And the chips that we get, I order the variety pack just so those chips will come in for selfish reasons because it's really for me.
Yeah, dude, no. I feel like not a lot of people know about the purple bag Doritos too, man. Like, because your face, you were very shocked when I just said that. Like, you're like, holy shit, he knows. I do know.
He knows.
He knows. Yes, purple bag Doritos, whole bag in a sitting while I'm watching something. Sopranos, probably.
Yeah. Oh, The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Yeah,
dude.
I just finished it last like fall.
It's really I thought you were about to say last night. I'm like,
no,
wow, topical. There we go.
Dude, best TV series of all time for me. Yeah. I'll rewatch the whole series twice a year. I'll do it like in the spring and I'll do it like towards Christmas time. I'll just watch the whole series.
What's your favorite episode?
Is he really a fan, Daniel? Doesn't sound like he's a fan.
It has to be a toss up, dude. I'd probably have to say the Pine Barrens episode.
Yes.
It's either that one or I want to say it's the last episode. I don't know if it's the last episode of season 1 or season 2. But when they finally figure everything out and they finally off pussy.
Oh yeah.
But it's like when Tony's like super sick, he gets like food poisoning and shit, and he's having these weird like lucid dreams throughout like the whole episode, and like that's how he figures out that he was the rat and his crew. One of those two.
Yeah, those are good. Pine Barrens, I think, is my favorite.
I mean, Paulie and Chris. I mean, Paulie's just the man. That's the piece. It's just crazy to think of. But yeah, that was a great episode.
Yeah, I could probably talk about Sopranos for a while. My father, like, that was one of the ways that I tried to bond with him because it's like his favorite show. So I watched it and then I kind of got hooked on it. But I've seen the actor. He's in White Lotus now, and it's so weird to see him like any of the actors from.
Oh, Christopher.
Yeah, it's so weird to see anybody in anything else. But yeah, Sopranos. So we're gonna start something here. If you see Alex Evans on a card near you, please bring him purple bag Doritos.
Yes.
Or Gabagool.
Yeah, because 9 times out of 10, I got a little bit of a drive to get back home because it's a show's not in Raleigh. So that purple bag would make a great passenger in the car for the ride back home.
Yeah.
None of those small ones that you put in vending machines. Give me a little legit bag. Yeah.
You want the party size or nothing?
Yeah. But dude, you know what? They don't make family size purple bag Doritos.
Yeah.
They don't make the share size ones. Trust me, I've tried.
And that's why we think it's a secret.
Yeah.
It's a conspiracy.
Let's talk. Maybe the next time we're on, we'll have to talk about chip prices because they're out of control.
Yeah, dude, $7 for a bag of Doritos?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
My grandfather.
How are our kids gonna eat, man?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But what hasn't been ridiculous is this week's pocket. A little ridiculous.
It's been pretty ridiculous.
It's been fun.
This is great. This has been so much fun.
We'll definitely have to follow up with you at some point because this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. And
thank you guys.
Alex Evans, look out.
Yeah.
See you guys down the road, boys.